All right, so now we're going to look at ways to publish data from ArcGIS Pro to ArcGIS Online. Before we do that, I just wanted to make a couple notes. So I'm in ArcGIS Pro right now, the desktop software. I'm logged in. You can see I'm logged in up there. So I'm logged in to my WView organization account. So if I go to add data, and if I should have this portals option, this my content is actually the content that I have loaded in ArcGIS Online. So if we go into that new folder that I've been working in, you can see I have those different versions of that summit layer available there. The my groups is data shared within groups that you're a member of. My organization is data shared within your organization. Through ArcGIS Online is data shared publicly through ArcGIS Online, and then the Living Atlas is curated data layers that Esri provides. So in short, if you're logged in to your ArcGIS Online account in Arc Pro, you can see your content there. So it's kind of cool. It's like a two-way street. But we're still working on the opposite direction, right? So taking data from our local machine and getting it up into ArcGIS Online. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm going to add in that layer again, of our summits. Again, we could work with different layers. I'm just kind of showing you how to do, like how to upload the same kind of data, just for the heck of it. So, all right, we want to add in the shapefile. Okay, so there's our shapefile. Again, if you want to publish something, you need to make sure it's either in Web Mercator or Web Mercator, the projected coordinate system, or the WGS84 datum. So if you go to your layer, we go to properties here, source, and spatial reference, and we can see that this is Web Mercator. So it's already in that units. One thing nice about publishing data from ArcPro to ArcGIS Online is that you can apply symbologies and whatnot and then actually have those be honored in ArcGIS Online most of the time. There are some that don't always work well. So with this one, let's go ahead and make some changes to this. So we're going to go in here and let's check. Let's see if Mountain returns anything. We do have something there. Actually, let's grab this mountain icon. It's kind of big, actually. There we go. So that's a pretty simple mountain icon, right? All right, so now let's say that's all we really wanted to do with that. So, and we want to share this layer now. So to share this out to the web, you just go to the Share tab. Well, first off, let's save our map. All right, and then we'll go to the Share tab here. And then we have a couple options. We can do Share Map, and this is going to share the map and the associated layers as multiple objects in ArcGIS Online. But what we're going to do is Web Layer instead. So click on Web Layer here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and get this going. So the name, we're going to do Summits, and I'm just going to do Arc Pro to differentiate it from the other methods we used. And we'll put our Summits tag in there, and that's all we should really need to do. Now, there's a couple options on how we want to save the layers. We're going to save this out as feature, which is a hosted feature layer, as opposed to raster tiles or vector tiles. And then we're going to tell it that we want it to be in our folder. Sometimes these don't always come up. I don't know why that is. It doesn't always see the folders there. There we go. It's because I have a lot. There we go. So we're going to save it into that new folder of ours. Now the share with options, that defines who you're going to share with. So I can share it with groups that I'm in. I can share with everyone, so effectively publicly, or I can share with West Virginia University organization members only. Now, if I share with everyone, you can see here that the West Virginia University gets selected automatically, because if you share publicly, it's also going to be shared with your organization by default. I'm not really sharing this or using this, so I'm just going to turn that off for now. The next thing to do is to hit Analyze. So we'll click Analyze here, and that'll tell us if there's any issues. So first thing is it says, so if it's an error, it's going to prevent us from allowing this to actually publish. If it's a warning, it won't necessarily prevent us from actually publishing the data. Okay, so if I click on the error here, basically what it's saying is unique number IDs are not assigned. So just if you click on this, you can do this allow assignment of unique IDs and OK, and then that should fix that. And then this is basically saying these layers aren't supported. And if you look at it, it's just the base layers. So it's basically not going to publish these the base map layers, which makes sense. So that actually we don't need to worry about. Okay, and that's basically it. So now if I hit publish, it's going to publish that out to ArcGIS Online for us. Again, this is just a layer. You could do the layer and the map object if you wanted. Okay, you can see it just finished there. I got my green success message. All right, so now that layer should exist. So if I again go to add, browse layers, it should show up there. Might not have updated yet. Let me let it update. All right, there's our new layer. Now you can see that this actually came in with the symbology that I set in ArcGIS Pro. So now if we add this, we get those same features, but now with our little summit icon instead. And we could maybe get rid of our older version here. Cool. Okay. Anyway, so that's publishing a hosted feature layer from, or a vector object from ArcGIS Pro to ArcGIS Online as a hosted feature layer. And again, if we go, let me save this. If we go into the content, I'll go back here to my content. You should see that that layer is in that folder, right? So now we have an ArcPro, a GeoJSON, a shapefile, and an CSV version of that data layer. All right, so what if you wanted to publish something like a raster data layer? Oops. Oh, actually, that's already open. I don't know why I did that. There we go. So what if you wanted to publish a raster data layer? So I'm going to create a new map here in ArcGIS Pro, and I'm going to add a raster layer to it. So I'm just going to go in. This is for another project. So this is a Sentinel-2 multispectral satellite image that I created from a couple different images composited over the Mon watershed in West Virginia there. So let's say that I wanted to take this data and publish it. So there's some things I'd probably want to do. I need to make sure it was in either Web Mercator or the WGS84 datum. So if we look here to properties, and then raster information, spatial reference information, you can see that it is in Web Mercator projection already, so that's fine. We might want to change like the band combinations. This is a weird band combination, so we go to the raster layer tab here, change it. So maybe we could do like a standard false color, so we could do shortwave and near infrared and green. So it's kind of more of a standard composite. This is a leaf off image. And notice all the areas outside were black there. So I could go into properties. Whoops. Sorry, we'll go into the symbology here. And we can maybe set a mask. We can make all the zeros there transparent. So anyway, there we go. There's that layer. So now we couldn't just so publishing the raw raster data would be a lot of memory usage. So for example, if we go into the properties and we look at the raster information, this file is roughly over 20 gigabytes uncompressed. So that's not really going to work. So what we need to do instead is save this out as a raster tile layer. And that's actually pretty easy to do. So basically, again, we would just go to share. Let me just save this map or add it. So we'll go to share. And then we want to do web layer. And now we want to save this instead of as a feature, we want to save it as a tile layer. And we'll just call it Sentinel. Let's call it S2 April Mon. And we'd want to add tags and stuff. I'm just going to do Mon River for now. All right, cool. And again, we could save that into one of our folders if we wanted. And we could share it. Now, if we go into configure, we can see the options for the layer. So we want to, let's see here, is that selected? Yeah. Content. So this is the web layer, and we should be able to go in here and configure this layer. So the ranges here is the different tiling scales that it will actually produce. The wider you make this, the more tiles it's going to have to produce, and the bigger the cache it's going to be, right? If you expand this estimate, it'll give you an estimate of the storage space. And this would be a lot, obviously, so that's in megabytes. So we really probably couldn't do that. This goes down to like the house scale. If you kick this up, you can see that makes a really big difference in the scale. So that's building scale, city block scale. So now we're at like 5 gigs or so, which is more reasonable. So you can control the range of scales that you're going to produce tiles at. It can also, let me do calculate here. Oh, it also will tell you how many tiles you're going to get for each of those those scales. Obviously the higher numbers equal the larger scales, and there's going to be more tiles in those. All right, and then you can change like the image format, so we could have it maybe just do PNG files and whatnot. So anyway, you can configure your tiling scheme there, and then you can do an analyze. It'll yell at you or tell you if there's any issues. Looks like there are. No, it is telling you that the web layer is going to take 13 gigs of space, which is pretty significant. I'm not actually going to publish this because I already actually have, and it's a big layer, so I'm going to publish it again. So anyway, if you have a vector layer, you can publish it as a tile layer, and you're going to have to make some decisions about the ranges of scales that you want to save at, how you're going to store the cache tiles, the tiling scheme that you want to use, so on and so forth. And when you have that all fine, you analyze it, there's no errors, you can publish it, and that can take some time, especially if it has to publish out the cache. So I've actually done this already, so I'll just show you that layer. So let's go back to ArcGIS Online. We'll go into our web map object. And I'm not going to really use this layer because it really doesn't make sense for this map. I just wanted to show you what that looks like. So, which actually shouldn't be too far down. There it is. So, S2 Mon Watershed April 2023. So if I add that, this was a raster tile layer that was published from that layer from my local file there as a set of cached raster tiles. We'll remove that. All right, and then yeah, I think that's everything that we wanted to look at. So those are pretty much all the major ways to get data into your ArcMap or your ArcGIS Online maps.